everybody, my name is Carly and I am the Natural Resource Education Coordinator at Holiday Lake. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about trees. So why do we care about the trees? Well, for one, they provide us with a lot of raw materials. Things like building materials, things like paper, and we even use trees or parts of them for medicines. We also really get to enjoy all the oxygen that they produce as a byproduct of photosynthesis. Lastly, well, not lastly, we need trees for a lot of reasons. But a really important one that we can see right here is that trees can help form part of a riparian buffer. That's a zone between forested areas and water that is really important for filtering the water. And the trees also keep any of the soil from eroding away. As you guys can see here, we've got a really sandy, beachy area from all the sand that's washed downstream every time the stream floods. But on that side, we can see where our trees and our plants have done an excellent job of keeping all of that soil from eroding away and ending up down in our lake. Okay. So the first thing we need to know about trees is what we're going to call the different parts of them. We're going to start down underground with the roots. The roots are the part of the tree that provides support and also helps the tree take up nutrients and water. Roots can go out 3 times the size of the top of the tree. From the roots, we go up to the trunk. This middle bit is called the trunk of the tree, and this is also support and also helps facilitate or move all those nutrients and water from the roots up to the branches and the crown of the tree, which is all of these leaves are part of the crown. These leaves help turn the nutrients and water from the roots into sugar and food for this tree using something called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process that all plants use to take sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water and turn it into sugars that the plant can then use to grow nice, tall, and strong, produce more leaves so it can photosynthesize more, and keep growing. So one of the things we want to look for when we're identifying trees is whether the branches come off in an opposite, alternate, or whorled pattern. This is a really great example of an opposite pattern. So as you see on this branch, we've got 2 branches coming out of the same node on the larger branch. This is going to tell us that it's one of a few trees. We can remember the names of these trees by using the acronym MAD HORSE. That stands for maple, ash, dogwood, or horse chestnut. These are all trees with opposite branching. This is an example of alternate branching. As you can see, these tiny branches come off the main branch at an alternate, one on the left, one on the right, pattern. The third kind of pattern that we can look for on trees is a whorled pattern, W-H-I-R-L-E-D. So this whorled pattern makes it look like these branches are attached, going up the tree in different levels. This is usually found on conifer trees. Something else that we can look at that can help us identify different kinds of trees, especially when the branches are really far away and hard to see, we can look at their bark. So this tree right here has kind of thick, chunky bark down the bottom. And as we go up the tree, we can see that it starts to smooth out. It almost looks like the tree is sick or like it's shedding. We call it exfoliation, which is a really big word. Basically just means that the outside layer of the tree, the outside layer of the bark, comes off as the tree grows up. This lets us know that this tree in particular is a sycamore. You might also see this with birch trees, London plane trees, and there's lots of other trees that also exfoliate or lose their bark in really unique ways. Even another way that we can identify trees is by looking at the shape of their leaves. So this leaf has a bunch of different lobes or sections on it. I bet you've seen this leaf before. This is a maple leaf. When we talk about leaves, we can talk about them as being compound or simple. These dogwood leaves are a really great example of a simple leaf. That means there's just one leaf coming off of each petiole attached to the branch of the tree. The petiole is that bit, right there, where it attaches to the branch. Now, these guys are a little bit hard to see, but this is an example of a compound leaf. So that means that there are several leaves coming off the same stem. This is really different from the single leaf or the simple leaf that we saw before. Some trees, we don't even have to look at their branching pattern, their leaf shape, the number of leaves on a petiole. We don't have to look at any of that. We can look at the shape of the trunk. So if we look at the shape of this trunk, we can see these kind of stringy bits here. This is called a musclewood tree. It's a member of the birch family, but just by looking at this part, I don't have to know anything else about this. I can tell that this is a musclewood. Do you notice anything about all of these trees behind me? They're all deciduous trees. That means they've got big, broad leaves that they lose depending on the seasons. If we look over here, this is what I mean when I say a broad leaf. So it has a big, wide, oval-shaped leaf that helps this tree photosynthesize in the sunnier months. What do you notice about the forest behind me? Does this look like the other forest? No, because these trees are all conifers. I've got some cedars, I've got a couple different kinds of pine behind me. But conifer means that they produce cones, like this one, to reproduce. It also means that they have these needle-like leaves, like this, or like this, that look a little waxy. And those are waxy to protect them because these guys don't drop their needles or leaves the way that the deciduous trees do. They keep them on all year round. So that waxy coating helps keep the water inside and let these trees photosynthesize year round. So that wraps up talking about trees today. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I've really enjoyed getting to show you guys some of my favorite ways to identify trees, some of my favorite things about trees. If you are planning on adventuring on your own, I highly recommend getting a guide like this one. This is from the Department of Forestry in Virginia. Has a great key and some great leaf descriptions so that you can figure out what trees you're looking at in your own backyard. Thanks everyone, and make sure that you post any pictures that you've got in the comments below.